thing right now is fear, and a lot of it's from coming from a lot of different types of things, and it's one of the things that I really am passionate about dispelling. And I thought, what greater way to start dispelling some fears than to address what most of us fear the most, which is death. In addition to that, the NDE stories are really incredible because these are accounts of people that have had these, not only either their own personal near-death experiences, or they've had shared death experiences in this case. They're incredible stories, really amazing.
I'm a former certified public accountant for Pricewaterhouse, Ernst & Young, and I also have had a shared death experience which changed my life, and I'm really excited to share that with you. So on February 22nd, 2004, my husband passed away after a long illness. He had been sick for 7 years, and he had lymphoma cancer, and he had 3 stem cell transplants, multiple rounds of chemotherapy and radiation, and it was a really difficult time. He was actually 44 when he passed away. And so the night that it happened, actually hospice had been called that day because up until then, he didn't even believe he was really dying, but he was incoherent that morning. And I called his doctor. And so they said, let's send hospice over. And they actually evaluated him and said that it'll probably be at least 2 to 3 weeks before he passes. He's not looking imminent in any way. And I called his brother and best friend, and they came over. And it was the first time I really wasn't alone in the house with him at this point. We had 2 young children. They were 1 and 3 when he was diagnosed and 8 and 10 when he died. So after hospice came, my kids ended up leaving the house that night. My son went to Ian's mother's house and my daughter went to her best friend's. And I went and, took care of Ian that evening. It was actually the first time he had been given any pain medication or anything. And I just kissed him on the head and said goodnight. And then his brother came into the room to take care of him. So I went and slept on my daughter's bed. And before I fell asleep, I prayed to the angels and just said, please help us. There's no way out at this point. So I fell asleep. And that's when I always get a little choked up because it's so visceral when I remember it. Basically,
I'm going to stop it there really briefly. When she talks about visceral, I've had my own personal experiences with the death of and the loss of loved ones, one of which we would call a visitation. And when she talks about visceral, if anything, if this has ever happened to you, it is something that you never forget. I mean, this one of them in particular was 27 years ago, and I still remember the sound of gravel under my feet and what it looked like, and it was that's really incredible stuff here. Once we understand that there is something else out there, then we have a little bit of better understanding about things, and we can dispel some of the fear. So I'm just going to get out of the way and let you listen.
2 angels just came and escorted my soul out of my body and took me to the other side. And what I call heaven, it was the most beautiful place I have ever been. There were rolling, gorgeous hills and colors I've never seen. And in the distance, there was this beautiful castle-like structure that next thing I know, we were inside of it. And there were, all of a sudden, I could hear choirs singing. And there were just like all these banners in all the corridors. And there was an announcement, the Grand Mr. Ian Sharp is about to arrive. And as I was approaching down this corridor, it was to the end of this balcony, and I could look down and I saw all these souls coming together. And I can't describe what they really looked like other than I just knew it was Ian's soul family, and that they were so excited. And they're like, oh my gosh, he's coming, he's almost here, he's almost here. Then all of a sudden there was this giant door that started to open. You could almost hear it scraping on the ground, and it just, and everybody turned, all the souls at the same time. He's here. And just at that moment, he started to walk through. And I saw him, and the amount of unconditional love and peace. And I thought, I never want to leave this place. It's just so amazing. And then right at that moment, there was a knock on my door. Lisa, wake up, wake up. Ian just took his last breath. And it was his brother waking me up to let me know. And that moment, it was like a trap door opened in heaven, and my soul fell back into my body. And I remember it just this thud back into my physical body. And I bounced out of bed, and I was so actually excited because I saw where he was going. And yet I knew that just that was not like an appropriate response in that moment because my husband just died. And yet I had all this excited feeling. And to top it off, I thought he was going to be going to hell because he hadn't been baptized. I was very religious. And I believed that, because he was unwilling to be baptized, that he literally was going to go to hell. So that made it even more exciting to me that he got to go to heaven. And so I ran down to our bedroom and, his body was laying, but it wasn't him. It was just almost like a shell. And I could just see that, his soul was gone and he had gone to heaven and I got to witness.
Oh, my personal belief is that we experience what it is that we believe. And I really grappled with that growing up, religious, being baptized and that. And it's not that I have any issue with religion itself, organized religion and all the fear-based things. And, so I had these understandings that I was taught. And then I went into nursing and then into hospice nursing was a very big eye opener because then you just see things that are just, you have no explanation. Not only that, you feel them. And actually, when she talked about the door opening up, I actually imagined my brother walking through when he arrived there, and it just gives you goose pimples. And so often, energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed. So we feel like they're gone, and in physical, yes, they are, but they never really leave us, in my opinion. And it's a pretty incredible accounts, and there's just many, 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 many of them. So if this gives anybody any type of peace or solace, like I said earlier, I welcome you to share your experiences, your stories, or just any questions you might have in the comments. So thank you.